When Meghan Markle agreed to appear on Good Morning America, it was pitched as a legacy interviewer, celebration of her philanthropic wins, and a platform to unveil her new initiative centered around equity and education for girls globally. Robin Roberts, known for her grace and empathy, was chosen to lead the segment, promising a softer, more meaningful conversation than Meghan's recent media run-ins. The studio buzzed with anticipation. Meghan arrived early, her stylist and communications team, managing every detail down to the delicate folds of her pale lavender blouse. Robin greeted her with a polite smile that, while genuine, hinted at a deeper layer of professionalism. They exchanged scripted pleasantries before cameras rolled, and for the first few minutes, everything unfolded smoothly. Meghan spoke about her mission, her passion, the statistics that kept her up at night. Then Robin pivoted. Some viewers question if your presence in advocacy spaces overshadows the causes themselves. How do you balance your influence with the message? Meghan blinked once. I've always believed that visibility helps amplify issues that matter. If I can use my voice to help others be heard, I'll keep doing that. Robin nodded, but then asked, but do you worry it sometimes becomes more about your voice than theirs? That subtle shift turned the interview. Meghan's expression held, composed, but the air tightened. No, she replied calmly. Because I don't speak over anyone. I listen, I partner, I elevate. Robin pressed. But you lead the headlines. You lead the photo ops. Isn't there a risk that advocacy becomes performance? The question, though posed gently, felt barbed. Meghan sat back. I understand the skepticism, she said, but I think it's unfair to reduce impact to optics. The work happens, whether the cameras are there or not. Robin offered a brief smile, and yet the cameras are always there. A moment of silence passed. Meghan replied, I don't control how the media covers my efforts. I just show up with sincerity. Robin tilted her head. But do you think sincerity looks the same when it comes with designer partnerships and multi-million-dollar deals? Meghan's jaw tensed. Sincerity isn't less valid because it comes from someone successful. The room hushed. The control room watched nervously as Robin leaned forward slightly. 3. You've built an image on being both accessible and royal, Robin continued. But isn't that contradictory? You speak of breaking down elitism, yet many say you've curated a brand rooted in exclusivity. Meghan's tone dropped. I didn't ask to be treated like royalty. That came with the marriage. I've spent years trying to humanize a role that never felt like my own. Robin wasn't done. But some say you traded one throne for another, the throne of celebrity. Meghan gave a soft laugh, more incredulous than amused. Do you realize how impossible it is to exist publicly as a woman and not be accused of ambition as sin? Robin didn't blink. But ambition isn't the issue, intention is. And when intention is tangled with image, people get skeptical. The words hung in the air like an accusation delivered in silk. Meghan's lips parted as if to respond, then closed again. She straightened in her seat. I didn't come here to debate the legitimacy of my purpose, she said. I came here to talk about girls being denied education around the world. Robin responded coolly, and yet we're still talking about you. That was the moment something in Meghan broke. Her eyes flicked downward, away from the camera. That's not on me, she said, her voice quieter. That's on you. On everyone who can't focus on what matters without turning me into the distraction. Robin's demeanor remained calm, but her voice had a sharp undertone. Is it possible the distraction isn't created but invited? Meghan looked up, her eyes sharper now. A woman invites mockery, online abuse, or endless dissection. If people want to talk about distractions, maybe they should ask why they find empowered women so unsettling. A beat passed. The tension now wasn't subtle, it was a storm cloaked in smiles. Rabin normally measured, surprised even her producers with what came next. Empowerment is powerful, but it stops being noble when it's framed like martyrdom. Are you aware of how often you present yourself as the injured party? Meghan's jaw clenched. Because I have been, she said. That doesn't mean I'm not strong. It means I've survived more than you know. 5. The interview was no longer an interview. It had turned into a philosophical brawl masked by studio lighting. Meghan adjusted her seat, her hands tightening slightly in her lap. Why are we punishing people for being vocal about what they've endured? She asked. Do we really prefer our leaders to be silent? Robin replied without hesitation. No, but we prefer our leaders to center the mission, not their memoir. That landed like a slap, wrapped in eloquence. Meghan blinked, stunned for a fraction of a second. If telling your truth makes you a villain, then maybe we should question who's writing the script, she said. Robin offered a thin smile. Or maybe we should ask why the truth always arrives with a press tour. The silence in the studio was deafening. Even the camera crew, seasoned professionals, seemed to hold their breath. Meghan crossed her legs slowly, gathering herself. This was supposed to be about helping girls, she repeated, softer this time. And it still can be, Robin said, but we had to clear the mirror first. Asterisk, the segment wrapped earlier than planned, and ABC cut to commercial with almost no warning. Backstage, Meghan left the set without speaking to any producers. Her security team ushered her out swiftly. Robin returned to her dressing room without comment, but her expression was unreadable. Inside ABC headquarters, the network erupted. With immediate debate, senior staff questioned whether the segment should have been pre-recorded. Others defended it as journalism with teeth. Within 20 minutes, the full exchange hit social media. The clip of Robin saying we prefer our leaders to center the mission, not their memoir, garnered millions of views in the first hour. The internet was divided. Supporters of Meghan accused Robin of baiting her, of disguising shade as sophistication. Critics claimed Robin had finally said what everyone was thinking. Some even accused Meghan of weaponizing vulnerability. To dodge accountability? Asterisk, the backlash didn't slow. Major media outlets released op-eds within hours. The New York Times called the segment a cultural referendum. The Atlantic described it as a reckoning between two women who carry both crown and cross. Meghan's Archewell Foundation tried to refocus attention, posting updates about the education program, but every comment was about the interview. Robin Roberts trended for 16 hours straight. Meghan trended longer. Pundits from every corner dissected the power dynamics. Black woman to biracial duchess, journalist to celebrity, survivor to survivor. It was no longer just about a clash, it became a referendum on fame, feminism, and forgiveness. Meghan's team released no statement, but insiders leaked that she felt ambushed. Robin declined all follow-up interviews, but sources close to her insisted she had no regrets. Asterisk, a few days later, Meghan resurfaced online with a pre-recorded video for the UN's International Day of the Girl. Her tone was measured. Her outfit starkly simple white shirt, pulled back hair, no jewelry. In it, she said, we must remember that young women don't need to be perfect to be powerful. They don't need permission to lead. Many interpreted the statement as a quiet nod to the GMA interview. Robin returned to hosting with business, as usual, but observers noted a new crispness in her delivery, a subtle caution in her questioning. Sources inside ABC said that network leadership had called a meeting to discuss future boundaries for live interviews. Publicly, however, they praised Robin's handling of a complex public figure. Asterisk, behind closed doors, Meghan reportedly took the clash hard. Friends say she questioned whether public platforms were worth the personal cost. She didn't cry after the segment, one source said, but she shut down. She asked if it would ever be enough for people to believe. She meant well. Others said the moment reaffirmed her sense of isolation from media institutions that promised empathy, but delivered confrontation. In private conversations, she reportedly said, if compassion is weakness, then let me be weak, because the alternative is cruel. Meanwhile, Robin was asked by a women's conference to speak about grace under pressure, which she declined, citing the need for pause and moments of noise. Asterisk, months later, the interview remained a cultural milestone. It was taught in university classes, dissected in think pieces, memed, weaponized, and immortalized in hashtags. But more importantly, it left behind something raw. The image of two powerful women facing off over the cost of being seen. One defending the right to narrate her wounds, the other questioning the frame around them. Neither emerged untouched. Meghan turned inward, doubling down on controlled environments and carefully curated appearances. Robin, while applauded for Her composure carried the complicated weight of having humbled a global figure on live television. In the end, it wasn't about who was right. It was about how power, pain, and public perception collided, who bleeds when they do.